Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Breeding the Blue Gouldians series. Well, this is going to be video number 8, or part number 8, or episode 8, whichever way you want to look at it. And this is realistically probably going to be the very last episode of this series. Now, of course, you can still follow future content on my Blue Gouldians. I'll definitely be posting videos of the young ones as they enjoy life, and then eventually as they colour up, of course. If you're following my channel already, you will have noticed I've already done quite a few shorts on them and a few update videos outside of this series. But of course I have focused really on doing this 8-part series now, which has just been fantastic, and it's unbelievable to think this is the last video. Wow, it's just so great to be able to go back and watch, like episode 1, where I purchased the birds and didn't really know what the outcome was going to be. It's one of those, I guess, one of the enjoyable moments when you get some new birds and try breeding them. And yeah, you don't really know what's going to happen. And yeah, I'm really glad I've done this series and managed to share it all with you, and hopefully helped you on your own journey of keeping birds. And whether you've kept Gouldians before, or maybe going to do it in the future, or maybe you're not ever going to do it, but you've enjoyed this series anyway. And a big thank you to all the people that are following my channel. It's been really exciting to start a bird-only channel last year, after having my other channel for, over a decade now, I think. So I actually didn't know if many people would be excited by the stuff that I'm sharing, but it seems like people are enjoying it. And yeah, thank you if you are one of the many subscribers I have now. And a special thank you to all the people that comment. And yeah, I really love chatting about the birds. As you know, with the length of all my videos, once I start, I can't really stop. Okay, so on to today's topic, and the topic for the last video. It's really about how I keep my birds in the non-breeding season. Now, some people call it the austere diet. I sort of just call it my off-season diet, so I might just refer to it as that from now on. Really, Gouldians are a real product of their environment, and a product of the seasons. Now, for those of you that don't know, Gouldians are from the northern part of Australia, where we have a wet season and dry season, and of course, a little bit of in between either sides. And Gouldians, their breeding cycle really coincides with those seasons. Now, I think most birds naturally, their breeding seasons coincide with their environment. Some birds are quite lucky, they can probably breed all year round, but Australia is a little bit of a harsher environment. And even for birds down here in the southern part of Australia, where it is definitely less dry, generally speaking, really the birds do tend to breed more in spring, and sort of spring into summer, when the bulk of the best weather is and the most food and water is. And I guess that's true of all birds, really, or probably all animals. So you may not realize it or not, but you probably already keep your birds in an off-season diet when they're not breeding. It's just a natural phase. When birds have young ones, you're always going to be feeding more, and you're probably going to be feeding a little bit of more variety of foods. And when they're not breeding, naturally you are going to give the birds probably less, and a lot of birds just eat less. And today I'm going to show you what I do in my non-breeding season, and hopefully that might give you a bit of an idea of what I do with my Gouldians to make sure they're not getting overweight over winter, where they definitely do become a little bit less active. And the weather down here, especially in the southern part of Australia, is a lot cooler. Some of our nights get down to 0 degrees. and some of our days are only in single figures, and I'm talking Celsius, of course. And yeah, the birds definitely become a lot less active, and I really like to see my Gouldians lose, like, you know, not really a lot of weight, but you'll see them, they just, they do become a bit slimmer, fitter looking, and of course, the off-season is finished with a nice molting season, and that's a whole nother story. But when I first got the birds, they had just finished their molts, and that's a time when, yeah, just after that, the birds look really great, and they're sort of starting to come into breeding condition. But they're about as far away from breeding condition now as they can get. Now, my young ones are all doing well. And one thing I will say is that the diet I'm giving them now is also based on the fact that I now have 10 birds in the aviary and not just a single pair. If I just had a single pair, I would be feeding even probably a little bit less. But because I have the 10 birds and I really want the young ones to be, you know, good solid breeding stock, I'm feeding a little bit extra than I normally would. But things are definitely changing. So let's get onto that before I just keep rambling on and on and on, like I normally do. So at the moment, seed-wise, the birds are definitely making this probably 90% of their diet right now. They're really loving their seed. I'm still using this has actually been treated with the good oil, which is a product that I showed you recently, I think in the last episode, and I did a whole video on it. I might put a link in the description below. So seed is the most important, so good quality seed mix. So I make my own seed mix. Now, if you haven't seen that, I do a video on exactly what I put in my seed mix. I'll put a link in the description below to that also. But that's why your seed is so important, especially for, you know, seed-eating birds. I know it sounds stupid to say that, but Gouldians are primarily seed-eating birds. So good quality seed mix is really important. If I just have the single pair of birds, I would switch back to having one bowl of seed. Now, I usually have 2 bowls of seed when they're breeding, just to give the birds more food. So I would cut back to 1 bowl, but because I have 10 birds in there, I'm still giving them 2 bowls of seed. Once I sell off the young ones, I will go back temporarily to 1 bowl, and then it's almost pre-breeding season anyway, and I'll be going back to 2. But if I just had 1 pair, it'd just be 1 bowl. Sprouted seed. So I'm still feeding sprouted seed. I'm using my water cleanser when I'm sprouting seed. Obviously, when they were breeding, when they had young ones, I was giving it to them every day. I've been cutting back on that now. I'm now giving that to them every probably 2 to 3 days. And I'm not far off probably giving them a larger amount once or twice a week. While they do love it, there's just not that need for them to have it as much. And there's something else I'm giving to them a lot more now, which I'll show you in a moment. I'm still giving them their liquid supplements. Multi-Boost, very important, vitamin supplement. I'm giving that to them probably up to 3 days a week now. I'm doing Liquid Gold 1 day a week, which is the calcium supplement. And then I'm just giving fresh water for the other days. I think it's important to break up their liquid supplements with just clean fresh water as well. We're also getting a lot of rain, or coming up to getting a little bit more rain here in Melbourne in winter. So they're naturally going to get water from the wire in the suspended area. They love to drink rainwater. So they also get a bit of fresh water there. My millets I am cutting back on. When they were breeding, I pretty much had a bowl of this available to them the entire time, and the young ones have definitely taken a liking to this. I am now only giving them a bowl sort of like this once a week, perhaps. I might give them a little bit of a top-up of this bowl, but yeah, definitely nowhere near as much as what I used to. So this is more of a treat for them, but yeah, they really enjoy it when I put this in, especially the young ones. They're really loving this stuff. It's a bit like junk food for birds. They just love it. What else am I doing? So I'm not really giving any of my powdered supplements anymore, my egg and biscuit and stuff like that. I might give that to them sort of, every 2 or 3 weeks, a little bit of a bowl of all that kind of stuff, and my tonic mix all sort of mixed together. No real need to give them the tonic mix anymore, not until they're molting, which is of course quite a few months away. So they're not really getting any of that tonic mix at all now, all the powdered supplements. Probably about once a month I might give them a little bit, because they do love those seeds, and I think it's important to give them a bit of variety. That's pretty much it. I'm also going to be worming the birds shortly. I always worm the birds after breeding season is finished and when winter sort of starts, and then I worm the birds again post molt. So that's I worm the birds 2 times a year, post breeding and post molt, which is really, I guess, pre-breeding. But one of the most important things now I'm switching the birds over to is, of course, they're enjoying their seed, really going through their seed at the moment. But this is the most important thing that I'm giving them now over winter in the off season. Now, luckily now, as you can see by the quantity I've got here, Melbourne has started to get a lot more rain and mixed in with sun, and the green seed has really exploded again. This completely pretty much has died off over the last 3 months or so. Over summer here, it pretty much completely dies off, and the birds go on to eating all the other supplements, all the other foods, and that's why sprouted seed is so important over those months. But now I'm pretty much giving this to them, they're pretty much getting a bunch like this every second day probably, and that's lasting them those couple of days to chew through and have a bit of fun playing around with. The young ones sometimes are picking up a piece and flying around with it. They're really learning how to fly now and enjoying their wings, and just generally running amok and annoying the parents flying around. But this is the key really to my off-season bird keeping. I am cutting back on everything else, but now this becomes so readily available. It's just great. I can pick huge amounts of it and give it to them. I try not to give them too much though, as I believe it can affect their digestive system a little bit. Whether that's an old wives' tale or not, I'm not sure. But I think everything in moderation, just like us humans. But yeah, the green seed combined with their good seed mix, a little bit of millet and a little bit of sprouted seed, and of course their liquid supplements, is definitely going to tide them over the winter months. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I do for the off season, and it's quite nice for myself. It's a little bit of a break. I'm not feeding as much, not having to get up as early and and do as much work with them, because generally they're just generally a lot more lot less active, a lot quieter, and just happy to sort of tick along over the colder months here in Melbourne. And really once you do this, you sort of cut back on the food. They go through their molt, they really come out of it looking fantastic, and just before you start breeding them again in the following season, they really look at their best. And that's when you start upping the food again. And it all starts over again. Now, while I am on the subject of the green seed, I might just show you a little bit of footage of a couple of the previous or most recent birds I've been breeding, I guess, enjoying the green seed. Hopefully you can enjoy that. So yeah, so that was just some of the previous birds. I'm quite lucky. I've got quite a large supply of this very locally, which of course I know is safe. Again, I always say, make sure where you're sourcing your green seed is a safe location. Councils and people can spray these. Hopefully you're in a responsible area where when they do spraying, they either put up signs or they spray with a coloured spray so you can see where they've been spraying. It's important to wash this stuff as well. But yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've got a very large supply of this. Within a few minutes walk, I'm very close to a creek, which really feeds all the local area. So I'm quite fortunate. Some people have to travel quite far, but I don't. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this series. What I'm going to do at the end of this video is I've been doing a little bit of recording lately of all of the young ones feeding. They're all now feeding by themselves. They're not even begging the parents anymore for food. The parents have well and truly had enough, and they're not feeding the young ones anymore. Especially the hen, she's definitely just sitting back and just completely relaxing now, letting all the other young ones run amok and not getting in their way. The male, or cockbird, is definitely leading the way. He's really shown them all about what they can eat, and he's usually the first to a food source, and then all the young ones will follow him in, which you'll see in some of the videos I'll put at the end here. But yeah, it's just been fantastic. I've loved having this clutch of 8 young ones. Some of them have some real personality already. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing how they colour up at the end of the year. But I hope you've enjoyed this series. I've absolutely loved doing it. I already can't wait to start a new type of bird breeding program and then do exactly the same as what I've done here. And just show you more of the same, how I do it, and just hopefully I can share some knowledge with you guys and share my passion. So thank you for watching. I will, at the end of this video, put, as I always do, I'm going to put some footage of the birds feeding at the moment. I'm going to try and get a bit of a mix of videos on there for you, so please hang around and watch those. And please, if you haven't checked out the rest of my channel, have a look. I've got plenty of bird videos on there. Love sharing my bird keeping history with you guys. And please comment below. I love chatting with people. I love answering any questions. And yeah, I really value everybody's feedback. And yeah, I really hope if you're breeding some birds at home, or you have been, I'm not sure when you'll be watching this, in the future sometime, obviously. I hope everything's going well for you and your birds. And thank you so much for joining me on this series. Sorry a lot of the videos have been so long, but once I start talking about something I'm so passionate about, I find it hard to stop. So please enjoy the rest of this video. I hope you like seeing the young ones getting stuck into some food. And I hope to catch you in a future video soon. So I will say bye for now, and I will see you soon. Bye.